So as I told you, I and my ex-wife, we are fighting very hardly. We cannot work normally. We try to start a new life, but it's impossible when you are persecuted like we are. We need a safe haven. We need a place where we can act, where we can live without having to face the threat of mafia proceedings, because we are under constant, as long as these mafia proceedings exist, as long as these people are not jailed, as long as they are protected by police forces, of course, we cannot live freely. So what we ask, we need some kind of protection, and we need also temporary protection, so that that's renewable every year until those people are arrested, those people are put into jail, those people are arrested in our place. We have no children should have nothing to do with all that, and we don't have to bear any consequences, let alone financial or criminal consequences related to crimes that were committed behind my back and without my consent, and of course behind the back of the children and behind the back of my ex-wife. And we refuse that the rule of law would be trampled down like it is now by members of the mafia. They are trampling down the fact that I have dismissed the legacy, that the children have dismissed the legacy, that my ex-wife has never been even a parent to the Costa Betty, to the Belgian grandmother of the children, and that she is also not concerned with anything. She doesn't have to make any statements regarding the legacy. I don't have to make any statements. Besides, I never knew about anything, and I don't have to make it because I have dismissed the legacy. The children also are minor in age, so they are incapable of doing any statements regarding the legacy, and also they have refused the legacy. They have dismissed the legacy of their Belgian grandmother. The whole family should live without debts, and the whole family should be together. That is the conclusion, and that is not the case now because of mafia rule. And we are fighting so that the rule of law would prevail. But of course, there are in Belgium, Belgium is a mafia state, because according to the definition of mafia state, and Hungary is as well, a mafia state is where some elements of the state are involved in mafia activities or are protecting mafia activities. And most of the time it's the police, because the police is the first organism that comes into the mind when we think about mafia states. Is mafia protected by police? And in Belgium it's easy, because in Belgium the police is controlled by maybe 6, 7, 8 people, king's prosecutors. It's enough if these people are convinced to control all police forces. But it's not all elements of the mafia of the Belgian state. So I want to emphasize the fact that it's not the whole Belgium is rotten, not the whole Belgium is criminal. There are good people in Belgium as well, but those people, we cannot reach them. We cannot reach the king of Belgium. We couldn't reach Mr. Frederik van Leeuwen, which is responsible for mafia networks and fighting against organized criminality, probably because he's not involved. We couldn't reach, of course, ministers in Belgium. We also wanted to at one point when we were in Austria, we wanted to go to the Belgian ambassador in Austria, turn to him, so that he would, through the diplomatic way, attract the attention of his Minister for Foreign Affairs, and so that he could act, or he could act diplomatically, and so that the scandal would be known. But actually, when we went there again, interference. We were on our way. We arrived there, and already staff of the embassy were told to invent something, that he was on a holiday trip, that he was on a diplomatic trip to Bratislava, and that he wasn't there, and later on we left, but we saw on leaving, that he was actually there. He was at the buildings next to the embassy in his headquarters. I mean, in his home. He was living there next to the consulate in Vienna, and we saw him leaving and entering very quickly into a car that then gazed only a few meters away from us. I could notice him, I could recognize him, I knew how he looked like. So after that we wrote to him, aha, the staff told that you were not there, but you were there. Because he was told not to receive us, and he was told, and the staff, and maybe he and his staff, convened upon the fact, decided that they would say that he was on holiday trip. Or he was, on diplomatic trip, on diplomatic mission in Bratislava. And the staff, of course, lied to us, because he was there. This is an example of interference due to spying. And the same is happening all the time. As I said, also we were prevented from reaching Minister for Justice. We also wrote to Prime Minister Charles Michel. But of course, we got the mafia answer in return. We got the answer that, Mr. Charles Michel is very busy. He checked his mail, but there is another person who is also checking his mail. Can't remember whose name was it. And just turn to that other person instead. So this, of course, Prime Minister is not involved, but when we want to reach true representatives of the rule of law, people who had to know about everything, they will get mafia answers in return. Sometimes using their names and using their signatures.